Hey friends, my guest today is none other than Hoover Stank. We've been friends for many years and has some awesome stories from all the stuff we did when we were kids. While we didn't get to most of those stories today, we did talk about his recent weight loss of 115 pounds, the cannabis industry, and BB guns at school. Hoover is a smart, dedicated, goal-driven beast, and he really achieved something amazing. He is my friend, my brother, my brosome, Brandon James Aloysius Hoover. You're looking rather svelte these days.
Thank you.
Hoover Stank.
I did a little bit of work on it.
What's been going on?
I lost 115 pounds in the last 11 months.
115 pounds.
I was at 365 after I had my back surgery. And I was at 250. I'm not there after eating prime rib yesterday, but...
What are you going to do? It's Christmas.
Yeah. I got down to 250.
What is your goal?
220, and to maintain somewhere in that area.
Maintain 220.
When I originally started, 250 was my goal, because at 365, that seems like a mountain you're not going to climb. But I did it, and now I want more.
Gotta have it. So you weighed 365, and you had significant back issues.
I still have significant back issues, but...
And so when did it start? When did you decide that you were going to lose all this weight?
When I had the surgery, they told me that, losing weight will help your back feel better.
Yeah.
And then I had the surgery. It didn't make my back feel better. And then the doctor just told me, he was like, "You're too fat for it to heal right." He was really honest.
He said those words?
It hurt my feelings a lot. Yeah, he said, "You're just too big of a guy for it to work on." And
after you already had it done and all the bills were paid and everything, he told you that.
Yeah. But he'd also told me when I was a lot smaller, when I originally hurt myself, I was too fat for it to work on. And so the extra 60 pounds I'd gained didn't help that situation.
How'd you hurt your back in the first place?
Working at H2 Oregon, the water bottling company with our friends.
In the Dalles, Oregon?
In the Dalles, Oregon. Yeah, drink Sierra.
Get Fuji. Are they?
Yeah, Fred Meyer's distilled.
What year was that? That was like...
I hurt myself in June of 2009.
And are they still a company?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Bigger company than they were.
Did they help you out? Workman's comp?
Workers' compensation helped out.
Yeah.
The company didn't.
No?
No.
You were just...
They threatened to fire me if I went to the doctor. So I quit and went to the doctor.
Damn. You were just working one day and lifted something?
Yeah. We worked around a conveyor belt where the bottles would come out. And the bottles come out of a machine that fills them so they're wet. And I just turned one day to put it in a rack and slipped. And
went down?
No. I just, my feet came out as I was turning. Because you'd throw them into the racks. And yeah, it just hurt.
You knew right away. You're like, something's bad.
It was like white hot pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you go to the doctor. You find out that something's wrong. And then... It was so debilitating you couldn't really do much, right?
It hurt, and so I was on restricted duty, but I didn't work there anymore. So there was no duty. And then it was physical therapy and massages and all the good stuff, and then MRIs. And then eventually they just threw drugs at me.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
It didn't work out very good.
No?
Yeah, it was a lot of years on a lot of heavy stuff. Yeah.
And so over the course of this time period, you just started putting on more and more weight. Yeah.
So when I got hurt, I've always been a bigger guy, but when I got hurt, I was like 265, maybe even less than that.
So a little bit more than you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the OxyContin and the Percocet every day and not being able to work, you just sit around and take pills and watch TV.
And so then this year happens, and you're at your house or whatever was it April you started?
I don't really remember. Maybe March.
Yeah.
When I really started saying I'm going to do this.
And so what was that moment? What did it take for you to get to that point?
It started being called fat by the doctor that just did a surgery on you. Just feeling like crap every day. Waking up, looking in the mirror, and just being like, who are you? Because that's not, you see yourself in your eyes. as different than whatever everybody else sees you. And what I saw I didn't like. So if I didn't like it, I knew other people didn't like it. And that, you know, you got to have a real talk with yourself. It hurt my feelings to let myself get to that point.
But it took the doctor saying that. And then you're just like, fuck it.
I'll prove him wrong.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was?
Yeah, a lot of motivation, spite.
I think it's cool because if I can be honest with you, I didn't think that would ever happen.
Yeah.
I just thought you were going to ride it out, you know?
I thought I was too.
And I mean, we talked about this earlier about some other people we know. You can't motivate someone else. You have to want to do something internally, whether that's quit doing heroin or quit drinking or quit smoking or losing a ton of weight. Like you have to decide if you're going to do that. And so this doctor says that to you. And what did you do? Did you like go online and look for it?
I went out to the car and I cried.
Yeah.
Like it hurt me that bad. Like, and I even called them and said, hey, you know, I didn't like this. This didn't make me feel good. And they were like, well, you know, come on, bud.
You know what's cool though is that guy inspired this.
Dude, I can't wait to go back and see him.
That's
just rub it
so
in his
cool,
face.
man. Yeah. No, it's so cool. So when you decided to do it, this is obviously like a nationwide and a global issue. People that just reach a certain point where they're not unhealthy. They're too big. And I mean, there's like pills.
I've tried those.
Exercise videos. Yeah. I mean, how did you make it work?
I started with cutting out soda and fast food. Those are the things I look to for comfort, or just soda because it tastes good. It's sugary. It tastes good. So I cut those out, and then I just started exercising just a little bit. You know, at 365, I can't be out running sprints and doing box jumps.
Yeah.
So I just started walking on the track, and it started out, I'll just get 4 laps. And then it started out, let's do 8 laps, you know, and I did that for a while, and I was getting the good results. And then I started saying, well, we're going to do this every day, and I'm going to work up a sweat. I'm going to do it in the morning. I'm going to start watching what I eat. I'm going to drink water. And that's probably the biggest one. Drinking the right amount of water has probably been the biggest thing for me to lose weight.
Replacing soda with water.
Yeah, I mean, I drink a minimum of a gallon of water a day. I try to get 1.5 in. So you go to the bathroom a lot, but it's probably the biggest metabolism booster you can have. In my opinion, it worked for me.
Yeah.
And then keeping yourself accountable with your calories. I have an app on my phone that I put everything in. The biggest one, you got to be realistic with what your portions are. Well,
it helps to see physical progress throughout, right?
That's the big one.
Because you're like, I mean, you're seeing that in the mirror, but you're also seeing it like when you step on the scale, right? You're seeing it go down each day.
I did buy a scale. And then a lot of it just positive feedback from my friends.
Yeah.
You know,
from our friends?
From our friends even. I would tell them in the polo group what my weight was that day. You know, and there was months that I was losing 25 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them were really, really motivational with it. And the compliments help.
Yeah.
And then other people seeing you saying, hey, you look good. You know, anytime that somebody says that, it helps.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's really cool, and I'm impressed with what you did and the fact that you're sticking with it and you just keep going. I think with almost every addiction, in order to turn it around, you just have to change something, and then you have to get consistent with it.
Yeah.
Like when I quit smoking cigarettes, I would associate basically every meal with the cigarette I'd be eating the food and thinking about the cigarette I was going to smoke. And I mean, you smoke too, after, or when you go to the bar with your friends or whatever, you're going to go smoke a cigarette. When you're at work, when you take your 10-minute break, you're going to go smoke a cigarette. It's like you have to change those things that you associate with that. Otherwise, you're never going to, like if every day you go to Starbucks in the morning and you get a 600-calorie mocha frappa, whatever.
The last thing you want to do is change that routine. You're used to it.
It's hard. Yeah. That's what happens to people, especially people our age. Once you hit, late 20s, early 30s, like you're on that path, and people get comfortable with what they're doing. And it's hard to change, and people don't want to change.
We have a friend who's starting to smoke again. You should make sure you tell Pondo not to smoke.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, he hears about it from us in the Polo group anytime he's drinking some pops.
Hey, that's weird. He never liked smoking cigarettes.
I know, right?
So all of this, I wanted it to lead into just how difficult of an issue weight is for people. And it's pretty crazy because I knew that you were coming down today, and I knew we were going to talk about this. And I got up yesterday morning on Christmas, and I was just going through Reddit, and I came across this thread. The headline is, or the title is, "My sister just said in conversation, it's disturbing. I've never met a woman who doesn't have a complicated relationship with food." And I started reading through all these comments, and it's not just a female thing. Like it's a human thing, in my opinion. But I think it attacks women in a different way. I think.
Well, it's certainly harder for them to lose it. That's
well,
the one thing I hear from a lot of people that have talked with me about it, is that it's harder on them, and I see that it is. Mm-hmm. I mean,
well, I'm going through these comments in this thread, and there were men and women commenting, but there were so many stories of girls who were like 13 or 10 or 14, like very young girls. And somebody would just make an offhanded comment to them at some point, and that's stuck in their brain forever. And it creates issues with bulimia and anorexia and then binge eating. And you have all these people in the world, and in my opinion, everyone has some sort of addiction.
Yeah, well.
Whether it's alcohol or porn or watching TV or food. And whether or not you want to, you find some way to cope with whatever's going on, and that becomes your outlet. And then it's the whole thing of like, you do it to feel better, but then you do it so much it makes you feel shitty. Mm-hmm. And
you do it more to feel better about it.
It's a weird cycle.
It is. First off, I don't hang out with anybody that doesn't have something.
I think everybody does.
You gotta have something.
I think everybody does.
And then those comments stick with me. I mean, there's been times that people have said stuff, my best friends that have, those wounds, the knife cuts deep still.
Yeah.
And I still hear that stuff.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's just with them. That sticks with everybody. But I think what I did was I turned that into a positive. I used that as the motivation to walk a little harder or run that last lap. Or I do a lot of push-ups at work. Mm-hmm. They're not real push-ups, but they're real to me, and I do a lot of them.
Then they're real.
And, I use that in my head all the time. That everybody says you can't do it. Do it.
I have that inside me, too. It's almost like, I'm capable of motivating myself, but if somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm way more likely to do it.
That's been a problem with me a lot in my life. You tell me I can't do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And there's positives from that, and there's negatives, too.
I've seen both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, it's a bummer because forever, the only human goal was to find food, find food, make babies, not get eaten by a fucking rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Or a cougar or whatever. You only had 3 goals every day. And, the ones who were faster and smarter and had better genes, they're the ones that descended into us. And so for all these years, for up until I want to say like the 1950s probably, everybody was somewhat healthy.
Yeah.
There wasn't this influx of high fructose corn syrup filled foods, easily purchasable because they're cheap, but also just packed with all the shit that you naturally want.
Like before the fast food generation.
That's when it all turned, right? And now you have this fucking global issue with overweight, obese people.
It's really expensive to eat healthy.
Yeah.
Which you probably are aware. It's a lot easier to go to McDonald's and get 2 for $5 Big Macs.
Exactly. Well, and there's also studies that they've done where they don't have, there's predominantly more fast food restaurants in poor neighborhoods than there are grocery stores. So that's the option for a lot of people. They don't have a car. McDonald's is nearby. The grocery store's 3 bus rides away.
And you know what hours they're open. You know what you're going to get. You know it's going to be a hot meal. You don't have to go home and make it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you go there and you cram what should be like a month's worth of sugary reward into one meal. And it's incredible. Like humans are not supposed to be able to eat a portion like that in one setting.
When I was at my biggest, it was like a double quarter pounder with cheese meal with the large Coke and a McChicken on the side. Mm-hmm. And now the thought of it makes my skin crawl. Yeah. Because I haven't had it. And it's not good. Yeah. Like when you're eating it, you think it's good. But I can't even smell it. It's like a cigarette to me.
Yeah, right.
It's just, you can't even be around it.
Yeah. Yeah. It became this thing that you can't really slow down now. And there's so much money and influence in...
I think people are dependent on it. It's the most affordable meal you're going to get in the day. It's true. Because people don't have money. Yeah. Yeah. And you know that it's going to be there for you. Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
In many locations. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird to me that you can buy alcohol, which is horrible for you. You can buy cigarettes, which kill you. I was going to look it up and then I forgot. Heart disease is either number 1 or number 2 in terms of human death in the States.
That's not surprising.
Every year. Yeah. And that does not get as much attention as it deserves. Everybody's worried about the virus right now, and everybody's worried about every other thing that can kill you. But the number 1 thing is heart disease, which comes from, it comes from smoking and drinking too, but mainly from
But that's going to be food. That's going to be the hardest thing to fix for people. You can put a mask on and wash your hands, and you're pretty safe from corona. Mm-hmm. You can, not be around people that are sick and get away from the flu. But you can't get away from the food. You still have to eat. Yeah. Yeah, I've known a number of women over the years who were bulimic or anorexic. And the thing that is hard to understand is that you have to eat food every day. Yeah. If you're a junkie, you can just stop doing heroin. And that's extremely difficult. But you can just not get heroin anymore. If you have some sort of addiction to food, and part of that addiction is you throw it up. Because you can't just stop. You can't just stop. You have to eat food. And so, man, if you had to drink alcohol every day, and then you can't quit drinking. Yeah. What? I think I was addicted to food. Yeah. That's not out of the norm to say. Mm-hmm. Eating food makes you feel good, mm-hmm. whether it's comfort food or it's a dessert on a special occasion or even buttery popcorn when you're watching a movie. Mm-hmm. It all elicits a reaction from me and makes you feel a certain way. If I felt bad, if I had a bad day, it was, I'm going to go get some fast food. Yeah. If I had a good day, hey, let's celebrate. Let's go. We'll get a cake. We'll get a pie. Yeah. Something that makes us feel good when we're eating. It's sweet. It's nice. Mm-hmm. The issue is when you're doing that 4 out of the 7 nights a week or 7 out of the 7 nights a week, it's no longer a special treat like it should be. That's your life. Yeah. So you get to this point. It's easy. It's so easy to fall into. It is easy, and it's hard to change once you start doing it. Next thing you know, you're addicted to quesadillas, and you can't stop. That would be a horrible thing. I would love to meet somebody that's addicted to quesadillas at some point. Yeah, so, you figured out that you want to make a change, and you did all this stuff, and do you do anything that you used to do? Do you still go out places that you used to frequent? No, you just kind of eliminated it all? Well, there's nowhere to go anymore, but... That's true. If I go to fast food, first off, I throw a fit if I have to go. I'm getting something for my daughter or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like being there.
Yeah.
And I limit what I eat. My diet's pretty plain for the most part. A lot of lean chicken, lean pork, and vegetables. That's about it.
Do you intermittent fast as well?
I try to throw a fast day in once a week where I won't eat from dinner to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But with the holidays, it's hard to commit to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to tell you guys that we did Sober October, and I'm thinking I'm going to do Sober January.
I didn't make Sober October. I made a week.
It's tough, but it's necessary sometimes, in my opinion, to just eliminate things. Because if I don't have like a reason or like some sort of goal, then I can't stick to it.
Yeah.
That's why that is cool to me. But I was thinking about doing January, maybe not eliminating alcohol 100%, but like trying to.
I think Bert's doing dry January.
Yeah.
Or is it dry December?
Dude, October's a good month to be drinking.
It's a really good month.
January sucks already, so you might as well just make it harder.
Yeah, I have no issue not drinking in January. Mm-hmm. It's not really a thing.
Yeah, you're not really drinking at all.
Yeah, I couldn't go without my medical cannabis, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a crutch for a lot of stuff with me still.
And
having a bad day, take a dab. Having a good day,
how hard would it be to go 30 days?
It wouldn't be hard because I've done it, but I don't want to. The desire's not there.
Yeah.
Only when I take too much and the anxiety hits, then the desire's there to never do it again.
Yeah, that's an issue. So you and I grew up in the Dalles, and the more I talk to people and the more time that goes by and I talk to other people that grew up in larger cities or even different areas, like it feels like some of the stuff that happened to us was somewhat unique.
Maybe. I moved there when I was 13 in 8th grade. So you guys got a little more experience going to grade school together. But
I mean, you were there for some things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was good times. I look back on it and I still smile.
Yeah.
Even the bad stuff, I still smile.
Yeah. Well, I think it's all important to figure out where you're at and where you're going.
Yeah.
Right? Because all that stuff plays a huge important part of who you turn out to be. And I don't know. It's weird growing up in a small town and having things go the way that they did. But I don't know. I mean, I'd love to talk to somebody that like grew up in New York City.
Yeah.
Because that's got to be a completely different experience.
Oh, it has to be insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Milwaukee, down here, this area, and moved there. And now I can't imagine living in a big city. Can't imagine it. Don't want it.
No. Yeah, I kind of want to leave Portland too. I'm over it.
Can't imagine why. It seems so beautiful and peaceful down here.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't bad until this year, and then I'm just over it.
Even my 60-plus-year-old father-in-law was complaining about it today. Yeah. He can't go to his gym and work out. I mean,
I just signed a thing. Planet Fitness sent me an email, and they're like, why are most Portland businesses still open, but all the gyms are shut down? Please sign this thing, and we'll send it to Kate Brown and see if we can get some movement. And I'm like, yeah. What's the deal with that? They should be promoting health.
They should.
And there's no discussion.
I got it my healthiest during the pandemic. I lost weight. When most people are gaining it, I lost it.
You did the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I haven't run on a treadmill with a mask, so I bet that's pretty tough.
It sucked.
Did it?
That's why I quit. I was going to LA Fitness in Gresham, and they had a policy for a while after they opened back up where you just have to wear your mask from the front door to wherever you were going. And I was like, that's doable. I can do that. No worries. And then one day I was running on the treadmill, and the girl came in, and she's like, hey, we changed our policy. You have to wear the mask on the treadmill now. And I was like, I can't run on a treadmill with a mask? For real? And so I quit. And then they closed.
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody's exercising.
How many people quit because of that? I don't know.
No, it sucks.
It sucks a lot.
It's hard on everyone.
Uh-huh.
I mean, which is weird. I feel like, at least my family, we're thriving in it. So I don't know what that says about me or us, but...
Well, I think it has to do a lot with whether or not you're fortunate enough to be in an industry that can continue to thrive. It's been a really good time for a lot of people.
Yeah. It's been good for the garden industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a really good year.
Yeah? So. What you want to talk about what you do?
I manage a hydroponic grow store, a grow store in the Dalles.
So you're saying that a lot more... there are more clients, or the clients are purchasing more?
Both.
Yeah?
Well, first off, cannabis was deemed essential. 90% of my clients, my customers, are either large-scale rec producers or home growers is the other 10%. Mm-hmm. The demand went up, so their production went up. And then a lot of people doing personal gardens, whether it's for their medicine or if it's for fruits and vegetables. Mm-hmm. Victory gardens, that was the big theme for the year. A lot of people planting large gardens because they thought the world was ending. And I think a lot of those people actually really ended up liking gardening. And,
it's cool.
Well, you get something for it.
You do.
A lot of things in life, you don't get anything in return.
Well, you also get higher quality stuff, man.
Yes,
when you eat a tomato from your garden, you're like, holy shit, this is what a tomato's supposed to taste like.
They're only called the same thing.
Yeah.
There's no resemblance to a store-bought tomato.
The ones in the store, they don't taste like tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best part about it.
We did a real big garden this year.
Yeah?
Yeah, we did real good.
Well, why don't you just grow weed?
I do.
For
me?
No.
You're welcome.
To sell.
No. That's illegal, sir.
Is it? How's that illegal?
It's at least in the gray area. Well, I'm not a licensed cultivator, so I couldn't sell it to a dispensary. You have to get that stuff tested.
Okay. That's what makes it legal.
It's more regulated and tested more often than your food is. So the standards for your cannabis are higher.
You know a lot more about this than I do. Tell me what the process is. If say I wanted to get some land and start growing and sell it and have it as a product.
Well, you'd have to be zoned for agriculture, and then you'd have to get a permit from whatever county you're in, and then you'd have to get a permit from the state, and then whatever based on tier. I think there's 3 tiers, from micro tier to a large scale tier. So it limits like your square footage. So if micro tiers, you can have 100 square feet of canopy versus the large ones, you can have 10,000 square feet of canopy.
So what if you're micro and you have over 500 square feet or something, you can get fined?
You get fined, you could lose your license. Mm. I mean, I'm sure there's a scale for it. That's not the stuff I really know. I just know what they use to grow them. Mm-hmm.
So once you said you need permit from the county?
You have to get approved by the county to grow there.
And by the state.
And by the state. You have to get your license, and you have to pay them a lot of money.
And these are probably annual dues.
Annual.
Yeah. And then, okay, so you got all that stuff taken care of, and you start growing, and then...
Well, you still have to put your fence up, and you have to put your cameras up, and you have to have signage and stuff for your employees, unless it's just you. And then you can start growing. You got to tag all your plants, make sure that they can tag them and watch them throughout the system. They say from seed to sale. Like it's a little blue tag that they put around the stem of it, and it stays with the plant for its life.
Okay, so it's like tagging a deer in the wild. You just can track it, but the plant's not going anywhere.
It eventually goes somewhere.
The thing is just right there. It's just growing. It's not going.
But they also come out and they do site inspections on them and stuff.
You're saying that they put a tag in the final crop too, and then they send it out and you can see who bought it?
No, they don't do that. I'm sure they probably have some sort of tracking thing. Uh-huh. But it's just they call it a hang tag, a little tag that's on your plant. From harvest all the way through when they're packaging, it stays with it.
And then it gets sent out to get tested.
And then it gets sent out to get tested. You have to do a batch from every strain that you grow. You have to send them in something.
Because they need to find out what the THC content is?
THC, everything that's in it, and then pesticides. That's the big one.
Are there a lot of growers that are using pesticides?
Everybody has to use some sort of IPM.
If it's indoors, what are you worried about? Can't you keep...
Spider mites, russet mites, broad mites.
mites.
Fungus gnats,
Yeah.
any type of mite they can get in. They can blow on the wind. Russet mites are the worst. They can just be in the air.
All those little mites just trying to get high, huh?
Yeah, they're trying. Well, yeah, they sapsuckers, so they eat the plant. Russet mites turn it rusty brown and ruin it. Yeah, they decimate a crop. We had a few customers this year that had that. It was real bad.
Overnight?
Not overnight. They're so small you don't notice them until it's too late, and you're already in trouble. If that makes sense. Until you have a major infestation, you won't know that you had anything. You'll see some signs, but
So then they're spraying their plants with some sort of pesticide that's killing these mites that they can't see. So they're just hoping, fingers crossed, that they don't show up.
Yeah, well, you do. I mean, you have to be proactive with it. You always try to make sure that you're putting something on your plant so nothing will show up.
You worked at didn't you work at somebody's? We're not talking about that.
No, we can talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for somebody.
Okay, so yeah,
It wasn't a legal farm, but I worked for him.
Okay, and it wasn't legal because he didn't have
At one point,
permits.
At one point in time, it was a medical farm, but when everything became legal, he didn't follow through with getting legal, and then he let the medical lapse.
But still continued to grow and sell.
Sure did.
Yeah, and did he get busted?
He sure did.
Yeah, is he in jail?
I believe he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing a couple in the federal pen.
For that charge only?
His two charges that he pled to were conspiracy to commit money laundering and conspiracy to manufacture marijuana.
What's the laundering about?
Well, there's a lot of cannabis in Oregon, but there's not as much in, say, South Carolina or Florida. So it's easier to send the cannabis you have in Oregon to South Carolina or Florida. But then somebody has to pay for it. You're not going to give it to them for free. So you have to get that money from Florida back to Oregon. Well, how do you do that? You fly it in. So you put it $1,000 in each pocket of your pairs of pants. Roll it up in your socks. Mail it. Do whatever you have to do. And then when you get it back, you can't just have $600,000. You got to put it somewhere so nobody sees that there's $600,000 in your bank account.
So, dude, we're talking about Ozark.
I haven't seen Ozark.
You haven't seen it?
I'm a terrible person.
Good.
Everybody says I should watch it.
No, we're talking about Blow made a baby with Ozark.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What was Johnny Depp's character in Blow?
George. Boston George.
Yeah, what was his last name? I can't remember it.
I don't know. But that's a real guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I know that's a real guy. But that's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like mixing those two together. So the guy...
He was the Gorge George.
Gorgeous George?
Gorge George then, because my guy was in the Gorge.
Is that what they called him?
No.
Oh, you just made it up now.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had all this weed, and he was selling it to states where it was not legal, which therefore made it more profitable. And so he would ship it down there, and then he had to get all the money back. And you're saying once he got the money back, he had to figure out how to clean it.
Yeah.
And he didn't do a good job at that.
He became a used car dealer and bought cars.
No shit.
Yeah.
Where was he selling cars?
In the Dallas.
Really?
Yeah.
Is the dealership still open?
No.
No?
It wasn't that big. He got busted basically when he was just starting out.
He's got like a lot of like 80s Toyotas, and he made $1 million that year, and they're like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
He had different cars than 80s Toyotas, but there might have been some in there. So what would happen is we would grow. I was just a farm helper, but I was up there, and so I got to see a lot of stuff. I would trim it up. It would get bagged. And then, somebody would come get it. This one guy was coming from the Midwest, and he had a truck with looked like a farm truck, and it had one of those big diesel tanks in the back. Well, the diesel tank was hollow except for just a little bit that they'd put diesel in, and you could fit 60 to 80 pounds of weed in there.
It had like a underneath thing, or you dropped it in the top?
It was just a big steel tank, and they welded like a tube right under the thing, so you could see liquid in there. The rest of it was hollow.
Wow.
And so we would just fill that up, and they would drive it.
Drive it all the way to fucking South Carolina or something.
Yeah, Iowa, but yeah.
Wow.
The other stuff would get put into like 2-gallon tin cans. It'd get sealed into a tin can, like you'd put fruit in.
Did you get subpoenaed for this shit?
No.
No?
No.
Wow.
They had all they needed without me. So they were watching him. I think when his trouble started, he got busted in Arizona with $125,000 in cash, driving it back. And they, instead of arresting him, they just confiscated his money and gave him a receipt for it.
A receipt? So we took your $125,000 worth of drug money?
Because he couldn't prove where the money came from.
See, that's kind of fucked up that you can't just have money. Why can you not just have money? In most situations, it's because you're doing illegal stuff. But why can you not just have money?
Yeah.
I don't have to prove to you where I got my
You have to sign papers
$300.
if you take $10,000 out of the bank. You have to sign like an FBI paper declaring that you did it.
Yeah.
Same thing with putting it in.
It's dumb.
Well, that's how they make sure that they get their pennies.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have extra money that you didn't pay money on.
So you're out there working at his place, and he's doing all this fucking
crazy shit,
narco stuff, and the whole time you knew what was up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, were you ever worried that like you were going to get in trouble somehow?
No, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just working on a farm.
Yeah, you were just trimming and packaging and getting it ready to go.
I wasn't even packaging. I was just trimming, like growing and trimming. That was it.
And so what happened at the end? Did you just come to work?
So I worked on the farm for a while, and then they opened their own grow store in the Dalles that is no longer there anymore. And that was a much easier gig than farm labor. So I started working at the shop for him. And I worked there until I didn't work there. And while I was working there, he got busted, like I said, with the large amount of money. And then rather than coming home and stopping, he doubled down and tried to get even bigger. And meanwhile, they were flying reconnaissance, like literally flying over his house and following him, building their case. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just him. He got busted with some buddies that he had down here. Mm-hmm. And what I think really set it off was, and this made the news, so I'm not telling anybody anything, there was some people that came in from Texas that held a public storage guy hostage and got busted for it. They had bought 500 pounds or however much it was, a lot of weed, and put it into a public storage locker. Mm-hmm. Well, the FBI was watching them the whole time, and they did a no-knock sneak and peek warrant, ripped the door off, took the weed, and just left it like it looked like it had been robbed, and sat back and watched. So when these people came back, they grabbed the guy that was working there and duct taped him and videotaped saying they were going to kill him if he didn't tell them what happened.
And this is the FBI?
No. The people that had the weed that it belonged to. Okay. They were freaking out. They came back and their 500 pounds was gone. Mm-hmm. So they're a little upset.
Yeah.
And they grabbed the guy that was working and were like, hey, we're going to kill you if you don't tell us. And he's like, I think the cops took it. I didn't touch it. And so they freaked out, went to the airport to get on an airplane. The FBI pulled him off the plane. One of the guys had the cell phone video of what they did to the dude. He tried breaking his phone. Couldn't do it. So then they had the footage right there.
Oh, shit.
And then not too long after that, they raided my boss's house in Hood River. He wasn't there, but his wife was. And so at 4 a.m, they shattered a door and threw flashbang at her.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. And then they started inventorying everything.
Yeah, they always do it in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're sleeping.
And then he ended up, there was a bunch of charges, but plea bargain, and he only took 2.
So he's in prison for 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
But then he gets out and he's a felon, and all he knows
he was already a felon before that. But
really?
He's a bigger felon now.
And this you said he was growing medical, so it was legal.
At one point it was, and then he let the medical license lapse. You still have to renew that every year as well.
That's right, you said that.
And he didn't follow through.
So
reason being is because they do inspections. Medical does inspections of your farm as well. So if you're over plant count, you get in trouble for that too.
Yeah, but all he had to do was follow the rules and update his medical license. And
he certainly would have had an easier path to getting away with it, yeah.
So what do you think his deal was? He's just like a fucking Wild West cowboy or what?
A little bit of that, but, trying to be sneaky and get away with what you're doing. You don't want people up there watching you.
Well, he probably could make more money doing what he did too, right?
He made a lot of money.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's the other thing I want to get to. If you go the legal route and you do all the stuff you're supposed to do, and then you get it tested, it gets approved. Is it what's the government agency?
It's the OLCC.
Is it OLCC?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought it was FDA.
No, I think it's OLCC. I have a license. I can show you. They give you one of those. You have to take a test to get it, but
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they should change the name.
yeah, it costs $100. They're good for 5 years.
Is that your real signature?
It might be. You gonna dog on that too?
No, dude, it's nice. It's a nice signature. Mine looks like shit. So after that happens, you sell it in bulk to a shop, and then the shop can mark it up 10 or 20% from there?
Which I'm sure they do. So you would get it tested, and if it's cleared, you get those results. And then, at least with the guy I work for now, is an awesome farmer. He's really good at what he does. Mm-hmm. Probably the best I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. They're all legal. They get it tested, and then he or his wife or whoever's selling it, they'll go to an individual dispensary, and they'll basically just show you, this is what I have. I have X amount of this, X amount of this, so much of this. This is what we're asking for it. And then they'll haggle and do whatever they do there. Mm-hmm. And then the dispensary buys it. And if they paid, $1,600 for the pound, you're going to be paying, by the time they're done, $3,500 at the dispensary for it.
But then we get into the situation of exchanging money. Mm-hmm. And so the dispensary pays
cash money
to the grower. Mm-hmm. Then they charge regular people. You have to use cash to purchase it. Mm-hmm. And then they can't put that money in the bank, right?
No.
And so explain to me why all that is what it is.
Well, you can't put it in the bank because it's still federally illegal, and the government considers it money laundering, drug money.
So you can sell it because it's legal in your state.
They'll take tax money from it, but you're not allowed to use an insured bank for it. There is one bank that you can use, but their monthly fees are astronomical from what I hear. I don't know how much it is, but it's hundreds of dollars a month.
So then what do people do? They just carry around a bunch of cash, mm-hmm. which is illegal. Mm-hmm. If you're carrying
but at least they'll have a justification for having it. And because it's a cash business, a lot of dispensaries get robbed. There was actually one down here in North Portland that one of my customers supplies to, that their bud tender was murdered the week before Christmas.
Just a week ago?
Just a week ago. A guy came in and showed his ID and let him in, and then two guys behind him tried to push the door in. Dude tried to shut the door, and they murdered him for it. And then they only ended up getting 2 jars of weed, no money, nothing. But that's what they're trying to get. They're trying to get money because it's all cash business. Yeah,
because if you go on the right night, late in the evening or whatever, there may be a couple grand.
Yeah, there's one guy up front, one person behind the counter.
Yeah.
It could be more than a couple grand. It could be 10 grand.
So then what do they do with the money? If they make, I don't know what.
They have to do something with it.
Yeah, I know, but.
They either buy more product with it from different.
Well, they can't put it in a bank. Mm-mm. So, dude, that's insane.
It's all cash. And they have to pay taxes out of that money. Yeah, but you can't.
You can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
They just take it and put it in a shoebox in their closet.
They find a way.
I'm
assuming they pay their employees with a check, so they have to have some sort of banking system, you'd think, but
yeah, right. Otherwise,
if the bank catches on, they close their account and
because they can't pay their employees in cash
because the employees have to pay taxes on it too.
That makes no sense. You can't put it in the bank. How would you have money to pay people?
Sounds like you're an advocate for some federal legislation for.
Yeah, dude, that's insane.
Well, they're not. I mean, if the government's so worried about their tax dollars, they should have it being taxed and regulated through the banks and checks and balances so they know they're getting the proper amount, but that's not the way it works. Mm-hmm. It's still the Wild West.
Yeah, well, it's cool because a lot of people are making money, and, I mean, I voted...
The only people making money are the dispensary owners.
The growers aren't making money?
They're not making any money.
Why not?
Because it's expensive to grow, and it takes a lot of your time to do it.
Well, and you're saying because there's so much competition now.
There's tons of competition.
Yeah.
And you have to grow the strains that people want. You could grow something that smells amazing, looks amazing, but it tests at 20%. Nobody wants to buy it. You could grow something that looks okay, smells okay, but test at 35 and everybody wants it.
What's a high THC percentage? 35?
Yeah. Anything over, people are hitting the 30s pretty consistent. Most dispensaries won't buy it unless it's 30 or above.
Yeah. And are they hiring, like some of the more reputable or larger growers, are they hiring scientists who understand how to or botanists who understand how to cultivate it in a different way?
They're called master growers.
Okay.
But the best people I know would never call themselves that. They call themselves a lead grower or a head grower.
Okay.
Or just the dude.
Master's too cheesy or something?
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's too cheesy. Nobody wants to be the master grower because you're always learning.
Yeah.
You know, there's new strains every year. The plants react to new chemicals and fertilizers different every year. And you can get different phenotypes from one plant. You could have 20 different variations and expressions.
Sometimes that's not the best, though. Sometimes you don't want the highest content because unless you're smoking often, dude,
I certainly don't.
That'll destroy you. That'll ruin your night.
Yeah. I've ruined plenty of nights.
Not doing that again.
No. I don't smoke flower. I'm strictly concentrates these days.
Mm-hmm. And what's the benefit of that?
For me, well, it's a higher medical dose, so there's more to it.
Yeah, but
there's no combustion of plant matter, so I think it's cleaner. Certainly easier on my lungs.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Is there proof of that, or you just
really high,
real fucking high on drugs?
Exactly.
Is there proof for that, or that's just how you feel?
Oh, I mean, there's no fats or lipids in it because it's all cleaned out. There's no combustion. I mean, you vaporize it.
So what are you smoking then? Just the THC?
Just the THC. And I mean, there's still some waxes and fats in there, but yeah, it's mostly just the trichomes.
Okay, so if that was cleaner and that was better and they found a reason not to smoke flower anymore.
Flower's a lot cheaper than concentrates and a lot lower dose, so you can...
Yeah, but you have to extract the THC from the flower, right?
You do that with the smoke, with the inhale.
Yeah.
It all gets combusted and burned, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if at some point would it be beneficial to turn all of that into extract?
I think the extracts are cleaner, but I don't know how to explain it to you. Have you never smoked cannabis before?
Not fucking extract.
Oh, you want to? You want to take a break right now?
Not 35%.
Okay, no, it's more like 75% with the extracts because it's concentrated. It's a concentrate.
You just said you didn't want 35% flower.
I don't, but I'm not smoking flower. No, like 35% flower would end up being like a concentrate that tests probably in the high 80s or 90s. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what method they're using to get it. Mm-hmm. Most of the stuff that I use is live resin. So the plant was cut down and frozen fresh and then extracted while it was frozen. Mm-hmm. So you get more of the terpene profile from the plant. So it smells like the plant when it was growing.
Okay. And so what do you say to people that... How would you convince somebody who was like all about reefer madness and saying it's the downfall of civilization, man? Like, what would you say to somebody? What is the benefit of
well, first off,
weed?
I wouldn't associate with those people because they'd harsh my mellow. I don't use opiates. Mm-hmm. When I was on opiates for the back pain, they had me on a really high dose. Mm-hmm. I was taking 40 milligram OxyContin 3 times a day, plus 2 Percocet 10s a day. Mm-hmm. That's
just to feel normal.
Just to not hurt.
Yeah.
And I still hurt, so that's why you would take more. You know, I didn't start out on that level. Like I worked my way up to that over 9 years. I don't use any of that now. The most I'll take is, a pill for stomach acid and some ibuprofen. I don't.
So it is a pain reducer for you.
For me, it might just be a pay attention to it reducer. But however it works for me, it works for me. Mm-hmm. And it's certainly a lot easier on my system than the opiates were.
Yeah, there's a far bigger issue with oxys and Vicodin and
it helped me the most when I was detoxing off those pills, when I was stepping down. Mm-hmm. That was the biggest help. Because otherwise, your hair hurts and you want to die. Yeah. Like it's just, and it doesn't go away. You're sick for months.
Yeah. From the pills.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I talked about this or not in a previous episode, but we have a friend who got hooked on the Vicodins pretty heavy. And I remember him telling me like he just needed 3 or 4 a day just to not feel like shit. Yeah. And he did them for 5 years.
It did everything but kill him.
Yeah, man.
And it certainly gatewayed them to other stuff.
Well, yeah, and that's the crazy thing is that can be prescribed by a doctor. It's far more addictive and detrimental to your health than...
When my doctor was prescribing them to me, 95% of the time, she never even put a hand on me, never examined me. I would just say, they're not working as good as they were 2 months ago. And she'd say, oh, well, you're getting used to it. Let's bump up your dose.
Do you know if they get some sort of kickback or some sort of financial...
Maybe with mine they didn't, because it was through, SAFE, so the workers' compensation. And I know they used to have product reps that would come in there and, sweet talk them and give them gifts and stuff. They stopped that. And maybe doctors in private practice still get those benefits, but at the hospital there, they certainly didn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because there's some story about somewhere down south, like Florida.
The pill mill.
Do you know about that?
The Florida pill mills?
Yeah, where the doctors weren't even real, right?
No, they were a real doctor. They just would see 600, 700 patients a day and just writing it. And you're out the door.
They're basically getting...
they're getting money from the companies.
Sales commission, like they're selling a car, right?
Yeah, and a lot of places that still happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people are finally starting to figure out, at least in the last 5 or 10 years, that it's a significant problem.
It's a huge problem.
Especially in poorer communities where people can get their hands on heroin when they run out of pills.
It's not even an issue in poor communities. Rich communities have it too. I mean, it's everywhere. It's as big a pandemic as any of the other stuff. I mean, you look at, certainly it affects poor communities. You look at West Virginia and some of these other places that everybody's on it and they're all decimated.
Yeah.
But you could look at downtown Portland or downtown Seattle and see that, it's not just affecting real poor communities. There's lots of money in this area and there's still plenty of people living behind dumpsters.
Yeah.
And it's not, they're not slamming pills, they're slamming heroin. But I bet they started on pills.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the transition, right? Because heroin's so much cheaper.
I thankfully, I've never gone that route.
No, I haven't either, but that's what I hear. That's what I hear, is that the pills are a bit more expensive, and
they're probably harder to get.
They're harder to get. People develop the addiction to that, and then they need some sort of replacement when they can't get the pills, and the heroin's easier to find.
Well, it got hard even when I was on the medicine. My doctor ended up losing her job because she wasn't doing all the stuff she needed to do. I was on such a high dose that I was supposed to be going to see a pain management specialist, and I never went and saw one until she was gone. And then the doctor after that said that he was uncomfortable prescribing that large of a dose, and so he wouldn't do it. And
you're like, I need my shit.
Well, I had to go to a different doctor, one that was willing to do it because I was so, in need of it.
Yeah.
And they fought me tooth and nail. And then what really kicked it was they wanted to take me off the opiates I was on and put me on a different one, Suboxone or whatever crazy stuff they have. And it involved me having to go into detox so they could figure out my dosage. And I was too scared. I wasn't willing to do it. So.
Wow. Suboxone, that's some sort of pill to get you to kick.
Apparently, but it works just as good from my understanding.
Huh. It's similar to methadone, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's the crazy thing is that we have this plant that grows in the ground that our parents in the 70s could have a nug in their pocket and go to jail, and now there are companies selling it and making fuck tons of money, but they can't put that money in the bank. And we've got these other little wonderful creatures that grow up out of dead, rotting wood that are natural elements in the world, and you eat a couple of them and you go to a different place for a little while. Those are illegal until recently.
Not anymore.
In Oregon. I think it's the only state. And it's still, I still believe, I'd have to look it up, but it has to do with medically induced, right? You have to be in a hospital.
At least for the psilocybin treatment. There's like a 2-year phase in, so nobody's going to be getting the treatment for a couple of years. Yeah. But then, you have to go to a professional, a shaman, somebody to help guide you on your journey.
That's so crazy, man. If in 10 years that is...
I'm all for it.
A treatment for depression.
Yeah, and it should be.
It should be, absolutely. And the other thing I saw, too, is that they were testing, I can't remember if it was ketamine or ecstasy. I think it was ketamine. They were testing that on people.
They use ketamine in the hospital for all sorts of stuff now.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was we were at a party, my wife and I, well, in the long ago.
Mm-hmm. Before times?
Yeah. And a kid got his finger smashed in the door. And to go to the hospital to fix it, they gave him ketamine to calm him down and make him, yeah. His parents said it was pretty awesome.
I never did it.
I've never done it either, so I don't know. But I've seen people on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not there.
It's like the party drug.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I did other stuff at parties. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't into the pharmaceuticals.
No, I remember people talking about it, but I never saw anybody have it. Yeah, there are so many things that are illegal that shouldn't be, that could make things so much better for everybody.
Vice versa. There's things that are legal that should be absolutely outlawed.
Fucking, when I was over on the East Coast, I was driving through, I believe it was North Carolina. It was either North Carolina or South Carolina. And I went through Marlborough County. And I was like...
The Reds?
I was like, there's a county? And then I kept going and I went into a town. And the town wasn't called Marlborough, but the church was Marlborough Church. There was the Marlborough store, the Marlborough post office, like everything was named Marlborough. And I was like, there's this product that has killed who knows how many people, given people lung cancer and just ruined lives everywhere. And there's a county named after them. A church, like all this stuff that's associated with it.
Probably a school somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was a school in that town. And all I could think of was that stuff Marlboro first, and then they acquired their name, or did Marlboro exist and then they put a blanket over everything and then just...
Who knows?
It's hard to tell. I should have looked it up.
Did you travel to Winston? Salem, North Carolina?
I did not go through there, but yeah, that must be like a heavy tobacco growth area.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of cigarette companies that are founded there, right?
All of them, I think, for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I saw this thing on Reddit the other day where this guy had it was a 2-pack of, I can't remember what brand it was, but it was a 2-pack of cigarettes that they gave you on airplanes. So when you sat down, instead of getting a drink or a little cookie, they gave you a 2-pack of cigarettes.
That's ridiculous.
Right?
I can't imagine smoking on an airplane.
Yeah, man, that would have been awful.
It'd be like when we were teenagers eating at the Orient or something, and we're all 4 smoking cigarettes at the table.
Dude, I don't even remember being in a restaurant where you could smoke.
I do.
Like, I vaguely remember you walk in and they say smoking or non-smoking. Yeah. And you would never choose smoking.
No.
Unless you were
smoking.
Unless you were smoking. But at that point, you wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But they had...
different sections.
As if that is really going to stop the smoke from going... Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't... I remember when you could smoke in bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of that anymore either.
No. Yeah.
I'm so happy I don't smoke anymore. It was so gross.
Smoking's awesome, but it is an awful
fake
habit.
News. That's fake news. It's not awesome.
It's an awful habit, man.
See, once you stop and you can go down an aisle in the store and somebody that smoked before they came in is in it and it makes you gag.
You can always smell somebody after they finished a cigarette. Yeah.
I could smell it if somebody's in a car in front of me and I'm driving.
Yeah, right? I can smell that too. Yeah. There's this woman at the Fred Meyer that I go to who I'm not going to say what truck it is. Not like she's ever going to hear it, but she always parks out front of Fred Meyer, and her truck is very distinctive. You can always tell when she's at work. And she will sit inside the cab and smoke cigarettes on her break. And me and the kids always see her out there. I'm like, that's so gross, man. If you smoke, that's cool, whatever. But why would you sit in your cab with no AC on or anything and just smoke and just all over you, man?
Well, do you remember riding around in Farger's Protege? All of us, everybody smoking cigarettes in that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or in his mom's basement, having to take turns.
Dude.
Having to take turns.
I wanted to bring that up with him, and I forgot about it and the only window down there was like a 9x9.
And then you had to open the door. And that window wasn't in the main room. It was in a different room. And you had to open Like
That
the
was so
basement door.
gross. We just smoked. There'd be like 6 or 8 of us down there. Everybody smoking cigarettes.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude.
We went back there after when his mom was moving out and tried to smoke a cigarette down there and couldn't do it. It was that bad, and I still don't understand how we did it.
Yeah, man. I mean, and can you imagine like growing up in the 40s or 50s? That was just like, that was just what everything smelled like. Both parents probably smoked in every house, and
my mom told stories of her dad yelling at them to roll the window back up because he was smoking in there and the windows weren't down.
Yeah.
And they'd make jokes and put a straw out the window to get fresh air. I mean, that was probably before seatbelts.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly they didn't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my grandma has this awesome story about when my uncle was a baby. He was like 1 or 2, and this would have been in like 57, 56, something like that. They were driving down the highway in a pickup truck, and there were no seatbelts, and there was no car seats. She's just holding the 1-year-old baby, and the window's down, and my grandpa swerved, or a deer jumped out or something. My uncle flies out the window and lands on the ground because there's no car seats or anything.
Jeez.
Yeah, man.
He turned out all right, though, I'm sure.
He's actually pretty smart. So.
Yeah, it's amazing how we even make it now with all the corners softened for us.
Yep. All the pads. It was a different time.
It was a different time.
There's a lot of people trying to go back to that different
I
time.
feel like even the 80s was a different time when we were growing up.
Dude, even the 90s.
I remember my mom wouldn't be home when I'd come home from school sometimes. You just came home, like latchkey.
Yeah.
Like, we don't let my daughter play in the neighborhood. Like, not that she would, but you're not going out there.
No, it's a bummer, man.
Outside.
On my street, there were like 30 kids, and we'd just run around and do whatever we wanted, you know? And my dad would just hang his head out the window and yell for us to come inside for dinner. Mm-hmm. And now, I won't let my kids run around anywhere.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You're a terrible parent if you let them go outside and play.
But it's weird because, like, I worry about them, but I also trust them.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's not my daughter that I don't trust.
Yeah.
It's everybody else.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. Maybe that's our fault. Maybe we should allow things to happen more. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but
I don't know.
I'm not going to risk it with my kids.
You know, I think it's probably because we know all the shit that we did when nobody was watching, and we're just like terrified they're going to do the stuff that we did.
Yeah. My hope is that my daughter is a better version, you know, than I was.
Than you? No, definitely.
I mean, it's pretty low-hanging fruit, but she's got a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it weird having her go to school in the town where you went to school? Like, you're going back to all those places that you went when you were a kid?
Well, I never got to go to the middle school she goes to.
That's true.
It'll be weird if the high school's still there when she goes to high school.
Are they going to tear it down?
They need to build a new one.
Dude, it was a piece of shit when we went there.
Yeah, it ain't gotten better. From everything I hear, it's real bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I am going to have to pay for it. Me and all the other taxpayers in the county.
There's nothing wrong with building new schools.
No, there's not. Especially down here when there's a couple million people to pay for it.
Well, you're saying that it's based on county?
So when they were going to build the school, they wanted to do a bond. I'm going to butcher it, but the county voted it no because the bond was so ridiculous. Like, they were asking for way more money, not to build one school, but to build 3 schools.
3 high schools?
3 different schools. One of them was a high school. The other ones were middle school and maybe an elementary school. Just because they're going to have to, you know, they're getting outdated, so they have to replace. Because they haven't built a new school since the middle school that we just got done paying for.
Yeah, that school should be fine for 20 or 30 years.
They were asking for money to fix it, too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So you never went to the old one?
The old middle school?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for 1 year.
1 year, okay. That thing was falling apart, man.
Like, the year after we left there, they had to, like, you weren't allowed to go to Building 4 anymore.
Yeah.
And the year we were there, the pillars started to shift in the class, and the ceiling was falling down.
It was sliding down the hill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was messed up.
So I got 1 year of that.
Well, yeah, they tore it down, I think, when we were, like, sophomores, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so we were one of the last to go through there. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they built a couple schools out here in the Gresham area, and it really helps, man. It cleans up
Oh, yeah.
the public perception of what's going on around
Well, it
there.
improves everything.
Yeah.
Property value all the way up to
Yeah.
the education your kids are getting and how they feel about it. But I don't know. And maybe I'm out of touch. I feel like we get taxed pretty high. In Wasco County.
I feel like taxes are fine if they're getting spent the way that you
and they're
want them
definitely
to.
not getting spent the way that they should be.
Yeah.
And I think everybody can agree to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be a better system.
I mean, our water bill is over $100. I mean, it's like $110 a month for water. And a bunch of that, like that pays for the bond to pay off the pool and other stuff in town.
They're taxing the water higher?
They tax the water, yeah. There's a bond, I believe, on the water bill to pay for the pool and other stuff.
Which directly affects homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you vote to build a new school, like homeowners have to pay for it. And even people renting are going to have to pay for it because the rent's going to go up.
Yeah, I guess if they pass that cost on to them. But you're not paying for water when you're in an apartment.
No. But the person that you're paying your rent to is, and if that goes up, and then all of a sudden their property taxes go up. I mean, I don't know many businessmen that like to lose money. They're in the business of making it.
There's an argument for taxes, though. You need to pay for something.
Do you?
Right?
Do you?
Okay. Well, this is what I was thinking about the other day. Like the most common thing that you pay taxes for, that if you privatized it, it would be fucked up, is the police department and the fire department. So if they privatized those and you had to call a private business when someone's breaking into your house or your friend got shot or whatever, you're going to get a bill, an insane bill for calling the cops.
Probably.
Yeah. So, I mean, people would call the cops less, which could be a good thing for some of the smaller reasons.
Still get a bill if you call the fire department, though.
That's what I'm saying. You would get a bill no matter what. So that doesn't seem like a good system to me.
No, but I think police could get taken care of in state taxes. I think there's an argument to be made to get rid of federal taxes. Especially nowadays when you're seeing how mismanaged and ridiculous some of the things they spend money on are.
Yeah.
Especially when the entire country's dying and starving and out of work.
No, I think there should be. That's the downside of the whole system, is that you vote for a person to go represent you, to vote on shit that they really aren't always taking your opinion into account.
They're taking their opinion into account.
Well, and they're also taking the opinion of
the lobbyists that got to them.
Yeah. Well,
how it could benefit them personally, financially.
Exactly, and who donated to their campaign. Because, like, if you split it up, similar to the way that you vote for president, and you said how much money, let's say you pay $10,000 in taxes a year, federal taxes. How much of that money do you want to go to the military?
Yeah.
How much money do you want to go to a single-payer healthcare system? How much money do you want to go to the police? Which the police are state, you're saying? I forget. I don't know.
I mean, they certainly get federal funding for some stuff, but there's a difference between state police and federal police.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Okay. But what I'm saying is, like, if you could give everybody the option to say how much money they want to go to each spot, it would be a completely different country.
It would.
But there's no incentive on anyone in Congress to make that happen.
No.
There's no incentive on any corporation to make that happen.
No, but it's going to hurt them, whether it's financially or, it's going to have some sort of negative effect on them, and they certainly don't want that.
Yeah.
They would rather things negatively affect us and keep the status quo.
Yeah. But that's the thing, man. Like, I've had this conversation with so many people, like, there reaches a point where things break.
Yeah.
And the people in this country have not reached the breaking point yet. But at some point they do, and then shit gets wild.
The country's hit it before. Taxation without representation led to the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, but that was at the beginning, man.
You keep taxing people and keep treating them the way they've been treating them. It wouldn't surprise me if people flip out like that.
I don't think people have enough to lose yet. They're not sleeping in huts and trying to feed their family.
Some of them are.
Well, some of them are, but I don't think there's a lot of outrage on the internet, but I don't think there is. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, do you think there could be a civil war? And I'm like, no. All those people on the internet that are screaming at each other, they're not going to fucking actually go out and physically bite someone. They're much more comfortable in their...
I think you're giving society a lot more credit than they're due.
They want to sit in their chair at home and fucking fight somebody on the internet. They're not going to actually go out and do anything. You think there could be a civil war in this country?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I really do.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, if it's not just political discourse and people being so angry at, you for your beliefs or me for my beliefs or whatever it is, that you feel should be happening, if that wasn't enough, financially crippling people and putting them on the brink of losing everything they've worked for, arbitrarily. Like we were having the discussion earlier, if you're a restaurant owner, you've built your business up over the last 10 years, and now they say you're not allowed to have anybody in there unless it's in a tent that you put up outside. Mm-hmm. You're losing everything. You're angry at their system. Those people are getting pissed. There's a lot of those people. You look at a small town like the Dalles, like they're dying. Like those businesses a bunch of them are never going to open again.
Those businesses were dying before this happened.
Yeah, and you could say that's, a lot of the communities against change. Like they're fighting housing developments.
There's a fucking vacuum store in downtown the Dalles.
Yeah.
Was that still open?
No, it's a salon now.
How could they?
A cosmetology place, I believe.
How could they ever sell enough vacuums to have a storefront?
They're still making carpets. Still got to have something to clean them.
I don't know, man. I don't understand.
How could a place like the Dalles have multiple furniture stores or multiple carpet places? Or
I don't know what the end game is.
How can they support 8 different pizza places?
Food. I don't see food going away, but I don't know how retail stores will exist. When you can buy anything from Amazon and get it within a day or 2 or 5, why would you buy anything from anywhere?
Well, at least with me, I certainly buy enough stuff off Amazon. But there's something to be said about going to the store and having it right now. It's in my hands.
That's the only reason I ever go to the store. I need it right now.
You get to inspect the quality of it. How many times have you been hosed by something you bought on Amazon and it shows up and you're just like, what?
How many times have you gone to Best Buy and looked at something and then bought it off Amazon?
Well, we don't have a Best Buy in my town, so thank you for shaming us. But yeah, no, I certainly look at the prices and then I'll check Amazon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I buy most of my stuff off there, unless it's something that I want right now, like a TV. I still have to go to Freddy's for that.
Yeah, I guess a TV's hard.
But yeah, no. I mean, this Christmas was brought to you by Amazon. Mm-hmm. Maybe if we bought 50 things, maybe 10 of them came from somewhere that wasn't Amazon.
Yeah.
And probably 8 of those were from Walmart or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could buy like a jewelry case locally made from some luthier, Mm-hmm. That's something you can't get off Amazon, but
a luthier is somebody that builds guitars, but
What's a woodworker? What's a guy who builds...
A carpenter?
No.
A box maker?
A box maker. There's a fancy word for a box maker. Why you gotta fucking call me out right now?
Thought of all people, you'd know what a luthier is.
I just say words, dude. I don't even know. So you want to talk about the Dalles High School or what?
Yeah.
Yeah?
All the awesome people.
Why'd you bring a gun to school, Hoover?
You're such a dick. It was an accident.
So you weren't trying to flex on some people?
With a BB gun?
With a BB gun?
No, I wasn't trying to flex on anybody with a BB gun.
Yeah, right. What year was this? This was like...
my sophomore year of high school.
Sophomore year, so it was 2000, right?
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, 99.
Yeah.
99, 2000.
Uh-huh. So this was Columbine was 99. So this was post Columbine.
People were really, really scared.
Yeah.
And they reacted as such. They were not happy.
So you lived in the country,
way out in the country.
Yeah, and so you had guns.
Yeah.
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 What did you have guns for? Just in case there's... Some riffraff.
22s for shooting gray diggers, or
Yeah.
we had BB guns. I mean, handguns, pellet guns, BB guns. I mean, yeah, we shot cans. We shot shit, and that's what you do out there.
Yeah.
We didn't have TV. I mean, there was no cable out there.
No Netflix.
No.
So you accidentally put a BB gun in your backpack.
It was just in with my stuff. When I got to school, I called my mom and told her it was there. She was coming to get it.
How did somebody else know it was in there?
A kid we went to school with saw it. I showed it to him. I was just like, hey, look at this. And he went home and told his mom. And she called 911.
He went home like he thought you were going to shoot up the school or something?
Yeah, and he called his mom. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I was in our friend's alley smoking cigarettes.
Playing hacky sack.
Yeah, and I came back to school and they were looking for me. And I didn't get very far.
No,
I
you
think
didn't.
from where I was told, I made it 100 yards before an undercover cop slammed me up against a car.
Dude, I vividly remember that event like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
We just came back down. We were going into that entrance on the side street there.
Yeah.
And the car was it was like unmarked, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like sitting right there.
Yeah, it was at the entrance.
Yeah, where a girl came and told me, Hoover, they're looking for you. And I
Hoover, they know about your gun. And then you took off running, and it was like
right into the cops.
It was like a scene out of a movie. They just threw you right down on the fucking, and we're all like, oh shit.
Yeah, and then they perp walked me in front of into the school, in front of the entire school that was downstairs.
God.
Yeah, it was a good day.
That was awesome. What happened after that? Did they treat you like a fucking terrorist?
Well, they knew it was a BB gun, but they still expelled me for it.
They thought
for the year. Yeah.
They thought you were dumb at that point. They're like, what are you going to do with this?
I brought a weapon to school. It was in the charter that you're expelled for the year.
Did you stop going to school at that point?
No, they had to hire a tutor and tutor me. And
so you made distance learning popular.
Yeah, I was one of the OGs. All you had to do is get expelled from school.
What did your mom say? Was she pissed?
She was mad at them.
Yeah.
Because she was coming to get it.
Yeah.
You know, she's my mom, so she thought they made a big deal out of it that I'm her good boy, and I would never do anything like that.
Well. Oh man.
Who's don't know. But that was bad. I had to get tutored. There was a restaurant downtown. It's where the Dutch Brothers is now. In the Dalles. There used to be a restaurant there.
The Chinese restaurant, right?
No, that's where Rivermark is. It was a lot of different things. But I got tutored there 3 days a week. Best grades I ever got in high school. And then they were supposed to let me back in if I met certain criteria. And when it came and I met the criteria and they didn't let me in, they were like, no, we don't want you back yet. But they had to let me back in the next year.
For junior year?
No, they were supposed to let me in the end of sophomore year. I was going to get May and June or whatever it was June. But they were like, no. But I got to go the next year. Yeah.
See, I don't remember completely. I remember that event.
You remembered enough.
I remember that event happening because it was so funny. It was like everything.
I didn't find near as much humor in it as you did.
Everything was cool. We're just like smoking cigarettes, playing hacky sack. We come back from lunch and we're going into the school. It just like somebody flipped a switch. Like everything's fine. Oh my God, Hoover's going to jail.
Yeah. I didn't go to jail, but I did get sent home for the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
Which sucked.
It's a pretty serious thing.
My parents were really upset.
It sucks that happened, but I get why they freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it too.
You can't, I mean, it's like saying bomb on an airplane. You can't do that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, being the person that it happened to, do I think that their reaction was a little much? Yeah. Was it justified? Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't me and it happened to somebody else, not knowing the circumstances, I'd be all over it like that too.
Well, yeah. I mean, you kind of had a reputation.
What? It's news to me.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I wasn't a good kid. I mean, I'll be the first person to say that. I've made almost every mistake you can make. Taken the wrong path almost every time. It seemed like that's kind of where I was heading with my life. And I certainly didn't do myself any favors through any of it. But I feel like I've gotten it a little more on track these days.
You think it's hard? You think it's easy for a kid to do the wrong thing when they're that age?
I didn't have a lot of guidance.
Yeah.
For a lot of my life, my mom was a single mom, most
Yeah.
of the time working 2 jobs, to pay the bills for me and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until we moved here and she married my stepdad, Mark, that I had a father figure in my life because my dad wasn't around.
Yeah.
And as much as he tried, having zero guidance to going to somebody that's telling you what to do,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to rebel as a teenager anyways. But
Yeah, man, that's got to be tough. I don't know what it's like yet, but I may someday to be a stepfather.
Yeah.
Or to, yeah, man. I mean, you get the whole, fuck you, you're not my dad.
there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
And there was also, fist fights.
Did you fight 'em?
Fights. Oh, yeah.
Who
we
won?
fought each other. They never really ended with winner or loser. I think we both lost.
Your mom beat both you up.
I was a disrespectful little shit.
Yeah.
I was not good. And I did you're not my dad, fuck you. You can't tell me what to do. But he never gave up. I mean, that's the one cool thing about Mark. I call him my dad.
Mm-hmm.
He really raised me and
Yeah.
taught me what it's like to be a man and do the hard stuff, do the hard thing rather than the easy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helped a lot. But I certainly I forged my own path, and did my own thing. But I'm very grateful for the wisdom and guidance that he gave me, the stuff I listened to at least.
Mm-hmm. Those are formative years. And unfortunately, you're going through so much. Your body's changing. You got fucking raging hormones. You're chasing girls. You're drinking. You're driving cars, which is stupid.
Well, I wasn't doing that, but you guys were.
You're just like...
I was hitching rides with you guys driving cars.
You were hitching rides. But you're introduced to so many things, and then you got to deal with all the peer pressure. And we didn't even have the internet. I mean, we had the internet, but we didn't have Facebook.
No, you had to go somewhere to use it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't imagine what it's like being a kid now. Like, there's so much pressure, man, to do what you think you're supposed to do, but you're stupid and you don't know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then you make some mistake, like bringing a BB gun to school, or I don't know, you crash a car,
Getting caught with a bag of weed.
with a bag of weed,
in
like
the weight room bathroom by your football coach / PE teacher / weight training coach. Yeah, I mean,
was that a big deal?
yeah,
Yeah, bigger than the gun?
it preceded the gun.
It made the gun more of a big deal.
Yeah, they happened within a couple weeks of each other.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, well, within a month for sure. Yeah.
You brought a bag of weed.
Well, I acquired said bag of weed and was showing it to somebody in the bathroom of weight training because they wanted a piece of it when the teacher walked in. I was like, why is this door shut? And I'm shoving stuff in my pockets. And he's like, turn out your pockets. And I said, no. But he was a 6'6" former football player.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only tell him no so many times
Yeah, he was a big dude.
before he says, turn out your pockets. And you turn out your pockets. The good thing he did, though, is he at least gave me and the other guy that was there with me, he set us in a room and said, get your story straight, and then left. So.
To what? So that you could...
So
you didn't rat somebody out or something?
yeah. So, I mean, he gave us a chance to, this wasn't yours, it was mine. He was just showing it to me, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, so you took the heat?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. There was nothing I could do. He pulled it out of my pocket. You're busted.
I don't know, man. Like, it's different now because it's legal, and it's also different because you and I smoked weed. I never thought it was that big a deal.
I still don't think it's that big a deal.
It's not, man. And I'm sure he didn't either, but he's probably covering his ass because...
No, I think he has an obligation as...
Exactly, because what do you do in that situation? If you're a teacher and you see somebody with something illegal...
Well, a cool guy would have just kept it for himself, but you want to be a dick about it and get me in trouble.
He could have just been like, what's in your pocket? And you're like, nothing. And he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. But I think because he was our coach, I mean...
You think he was trying to look out for you? Like he was trying to set you straight or something?
I don't think he was trying to hurt me. I don't think he was trying to get me in trouble. I think he saw a kid with a bag of weed when he's 15, 16 years old in high school, and he's the teacher. I think he was like, I have to do something about this.
Yeah.
Whether it was, altruistic or whatever, he did something about it. I got in trouble.
Yeah.
Less trouble for that than the gun.
Yeah.
That was only a week.
It's just so insane to me that that was a thing. We used to buy bags of weed from people for $40 and hide it in your car because you were worried the cops were going to pull you over, or hide it in your sock or whatever. And now you go to a store and you buy it. Mm-hmm. It's insane. In the course of...
Or you can just grow it in your backyard.
Or you can... I know some people who you would never expect to grow weed, and they have enormous plants in their backyard, and they don't even smoke. Yeah. They just grow it because they can.
It's a fun plant to grow. I mean, it really is. I mean, I love everything about it. They're pretty. They smell nice. They look nice.
They do smell nice. It's very distinctive.
It is.
You can... I love to, like, you know, go somewhere like a Target or whatever, and you just walk down an aisle, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
smell that.
Well, I'm sure when you're, you know, traveling, you know, down to Bend to see your folks or something like that on the way there, you see the fields where they're growing hemp.
I've seen some fields, and I can't remember where they were now, but I've seen some things.
You could drive out to Doofer. I mean, Azure did last year. I think they did 1 million plants in their greenhouses.
Azure?
Mm-hmm. 1 million plants. They had 40. They bought fans for me for 40 greenhouses.
What did they used to do where people rode rollerblades around?
That was like Pondo worked in their warehouse. That he was pulling orders of everything, all sorts of stuff.
Produce?
I don't know if it's produce. Lots of meat, probably dry goods, like Bob's Red Mill type stuff. You know, a little higher end quality stuff. They probably do produce. I know peanut butter, any type of meat. I think nowadays they do produce because they have the...
Well, they probably don't do anything for it if they have 1 million plants.
Well, it's 40 greenhouses. That's just the hemp, just for CBD.
Why just do CBD?
Because, well, hemp's legal federally. You can grow it anywhere.
It's an
agricultural crop.
So that they don't have to deal with the cash situation.
No, they don't have to deal with cash. They do still have to get it tested and regulated. They can't be above, I think it's 0.3% for it to qualify as industrial hemp.
So what do they do with it? How do they extract the CBD?
There's a lot of different ways. You could do CO2 extraction. You could do alcohol, ethanol, where they macerate it, you know, break it down into small pieces and then soak it in alcohol. The CRC, you use the CO2.
But what do they do? Because a marijuana plant that grows a bud that everyone who has ever smoked weed has smoked, that has come from a female marijuana plant. Yeah. Is the hemp, is that from male?
Exactly. Nope.
No?
It's a female plant as well.
So what do they do with the buds? Do they not grow buds?
They process them. You know, you could smoke CBD flower. Like it has CBD in it. It's low amounts though, especially with the industrial hemp that they're doing. Again, it's 0.3%.
They're just growing some shitty strain that they're just using for CBD.
Most people are growing the same strains they're doing. There's only certain ones that are coming in as low as they're legally allowed to sell. Mm-hmm. So everybody grows pretty much the same stuff, and then they extract it. And that's what you'd see like in, you know, CBD MD and any of their topicals that they give you or tinctures. It's what you'll see on the store shelves. It's the same stuff. They just wholesale extract it in giant batches. Yeah. And then they get distillate, or they get, you know, the CBD isolate, which looks kind of powdery, looks like salt.
So when you were in that bathroom in your sophomore year of high school and that teacher busted you, did you know that it's going to lead you on a life of learning about the plant?
No, definitely didn't think that was going to be my gig. But, I mean, like I said, I love it. I love what, you know, it's provided jobs. It provides people with peace of mind, comfort, fun. I mean, it's an all-around thing. You can use it for a lot of stuff.
It's far better for you than many other things that you could do. And it gets a bad rap. And it's not for everybody.
No.
But the fact that it has been illegal for so long, and still is in some ways.
Well, we used to talk about it when we were kids. Someday, you know, this is going to be illegal. We're going to be able to do this whenever we want.
Yeah, but dude, I never
thought it would.
I never actually thought it would be what it is now. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, I was like, yeah, I was thinking about getting some edibles or something. And they're like, yeah, go down to the dispensary and check it out. And I'm like, man, I fucking hate going in those places. You feel
weird.
I feel like an idiot. I feel like a 3-year-old in a scientist store. Like everybody there is the smartest person ever, and there's 6 million things to choose from, and I don't even know how to speak English. And I'm like, that's why if I ever go in there, I order it pre.
I feel that way when I go in there too, though.
I don't want to go in there and hang out. Like it's just.
It's not a hangout spot.
No, it's overwhelming. You're like, there's 300 different kinds. You're like, what am I doing?
Well, if they're good at their job, your bud tender is good at their job, they will, be your shaman. Mm-hmm. They'll guide you into what you need.
Yeah. I just go and say, where's the mushrooms?
Yeah. See, I would guide you into like a 100 milligram edible.
No.
Something to ruin your night.
No.
But that's me.
No, I've been there. I don't want to go back.
Sometimes I like to dip my toe in the waters.
Yeah?
I like to go a little deep sometimes.
Yeah. Forget your name?
I forget how to breathe. How to talk normal. How to breathe normal.
You ever just eat one and then go to Fred Meyer or something?
I try not to go to Fred Meyer's or anywhere sober for the most part. I always try to have a little something in me.
Yeah.
As far as edibles go, that's kind of more of a home thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do those when I know I'm not going somewhere.
Yeah.
100 milligrams will send you to space.
Yeah.
It really will.
Yeah. It's weird how smoking it can do one thing and eating it can do another. Because one of the highest times I've ever been in my life was at the country fair when some dude gave me, I can't remember if it was a cookie or a brownie, and he's just like, yeah, it's an edible. And I was like, cool. And I ate it, and dude, it was like I smoked.
Didn't you get a massage when you were super high on?
No, I don't think so. But I laid on the floor in somebody's tent. I just laid on the floor, and I didn't think I was going to be normal again. I was so scared. And there was somebody outside the tent fighting with his girlfriend, and they were like screaming at each other, and like a part of me was like, dude, I should get up and like go diffuse the situation.
The rest of you wasn't having
No,
it.
the rest of me is like, you're laying right here, dude. You're not going anywhere.
Well, I'm sure you've heard other podcasters talk about it. When you ingest it, it goes through your liver in the one pass, and it's the Delta 5 hydroxy metabolite, which is 5 times more potent than regular THC. Mm-hmm. So it acts like a real hallucinogen.
Yeah.
Like right up there with acid and mushrooms, especially at high doses.
So I wonder if when people first stumbled upon it, if that was they wouldn't have known to smoke it.
I hope so.
They were just
exactly how it was. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know why you would eat the plant. It doesn't.
Why would you smoke it? What do you...
How did they figure out what mushrooms were poisonous or not? Trial and error.
300 people died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the one guy found the right one, and he had the awesome time.
That one guy's like, so cool, dude, I swear. And they're like, no, Tie-Dye Dwayne, we're not listening to you.
Tie-Dye Dwayne.
Did you ever meet Tie-Dye Dwayne?
Mm-mm.
That motherfucker, dude, he sold us acid, but it wasn't acid. And we bought, I don't know how much we bought, not that much. Like
all of it?
$20, $40, whatever. And then he skipped town because he was selling bunk acid.
What a dick.
Yeah. But, I mean, his name went down in folklore.
You were there the year at Country Fair that I took mescaline and laid on the mat for 6 hours under the tree, weren't you?
I was there 5 years in a row.
I have a picture of it.
I know some people did some mescaline some of those years. I wasn't one of them, but...
it was the same year I got my chest painted.
It was a good year.
That was a good year.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I don't think that place is the same anymore.
No, you have to get an invite now. You don't just get to buy a ticket and go. You have to get put on a special list.
To get into the campground?
To get into the Darling Reunion. You don't get to show up anymore.
Well, we used to have to buy tickets like a concert.
Yeah, it's not like that. You can't just buy a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had some people OD.
Did they?
Yeah, some dude OD'd on heroin. And
remember the year the dude with the bouncing around in the kangaroo outfit selling crystal meth?
I don't remember that. Oh, man. I have so few memories.
Remember the naked guy that came into camp and was like hanging out next to the girls?
There were lots of naked dudes.
There's a specific naked guy. He's a very specific one. He just walked up, put his arm around somebody's chair, and he's like, so I'm looking to get some action tonight. Any takers? And everybody was like, no, man, we're good. And he just, all right, later. Just walks off.
It worked on somebody.
I can't believe you don't remember the guy in the kangaroo outfit.
It did. it was a time period that I couldn't do it now.
No.
I couldn't do it now.
I'd like to go back, but I want to keep the memory of it in my head of how it was, not how it is.
Yeah, dude, it was different when we were all 22.
And then who knows what the fair's like now that weed's legal.
Dude, I don't know, man. It's just not my scene anymore. I don't care.
I'm not really into the hippie scene either.
I
still have a special place in my heart for it, though.
Dude, it's unrealistic. It's not... It's like a wild, wild country. It's like, yeah, it seems like a good idea, but someone's going to fuck it up. You can't live that way.
Fucking Sheila. Ruined everything.
Not Sheila?
Sheila.
Yeah. No, she had some hidden doors. So.
Yeah, as soon as you start trying to poison people.
As soon as you buy 46 Rolls Royces.
I don't think that was her.
That was him.
Yeah.
He got a little weird, man. He was
balling out of control with the rollies.
He was letting old downstairs take care of business, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he? I don't remember seeing that in Wild Country. Was he hooking up?
Oh, dude.
With everybody's wife?
Yes.
Well, that's why you become the cult leader, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
You don't do it to not have sex with somebody's wife.
Yeah. I mean, it may not start out that way, but that's where it goes.
They're all the good ones.
They're all trying to get to heaven.
The good ones end up that way. Bad ones end up drinking Kool-Aid in the jungle.
Cults are weird, man. I think there's a lot of them.
Oh, for sure.
And
there's that Nexium one there's that documentary about. I don't know if you saw that on HBO.
Nexium?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
It was with that dude just got sentenced to like 100 years in prison for running the sex cult. He was branding chicks.
With a cattle thing?
Whether it was a cattle one or a homemade one that he heated up with a lighter, he was still branding them.
What did the brand say?
You'd have to look it up. I mean, I'm not the guy to come to for facts.
That's a good part to remember.
I just make statements. I feel like it looked like the Louis Vuitton symbol, but it was the XIV or something like that.
Something to do with
They spelled the name wrong. Like they used Roman numerals, but it's pronounced Nexium. That's just one of them. There's been a ton of them in our life.
There'll be more.
Yeah, especially with the way things are going.
Everybody's looking for the answer, dude.
I think people are just coming out of a 4-year cult.
Yeah. Well, the cult,
they're not done with it.
They're on a 4-year sabbatical.
Yeah,
the cult starts again.
Yeah. God, I hope not.
He's got to die between now and then. You don't think so?
No, I think he has cockroach genetics. I think he'll just be around.
He's part cockroach. I don't think it matters.
You would think anybody that drinks 11 Diet Cokes and eats Big Macs all day long.
Dude.
But I lived for a long time doing that, so.
Dude, he got COVID and was...
Hey, he got the special sauce, though.
Back on the campaign trail in 3 days.
Working for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He cares about me a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Me specifically.
Specifically you.
I don't think it matters, dude, because there's so many drones after him. If he dies, the next one just steps in, dude.
They're all the same. It doesn't matter what name they go by.
He's got, what has he got? Eric, Don Jr., Ivanka?
That's his daughter.
I always get it confused
Baron.
with who was the wife, the ex-wife? Ivana. See, I get him confused.
The daughter's Ivanka.
The daughter is Ivanka.
And Marla Maples.
All 3 of those kids, Baron's going to start a different cult. But those 3 kids, they're going to continue to be in American politics for at least the next 20 or 30 years. This is premature, but I would be willing to bet one of those 3 kids will be vice or president.
Ivanka will run. I think that Don Jr. has a coke habit, and I don't think he'll do it, and I don't think Eric has the smarts.
JFK.
That's a different time. That was when being a coke addict and president was cool.
Maybe Nixon. Maybe Reagan.
Dude, there's no way Nixon was doing drugs. Dude, that guy probably slept with his suit on. There's no way.
He's a weird dude. Did you ever see Frost Nixon?
Yes.
That is a great four-parter.
It's a good movie.
It's really good, man.
Nixon
is it just
crazy.
a movie?
Yeah, they have a movie about it.
Maybe it was a movie. Maybe it wasn't a 4-part. Fuck, I can't remember. But it's really good. And somebody did it, like not Spielberg, but somebody big did it.
Yeah, was it Oliver Stone?
Fuck.
My favorite Nixon thing is when Elvis went to meet him to try to stop the hippies. and he's in there all cooked out and brings Nixon a gun as a present.
This'll work. Ron Howard did it. It's great, man. I just watched it like a month ago, 2 months ago. Yeah, man. That guy, Frost, he was just like a game show host. You know, he was like Drew Carey or not Bob Barker, but like somebody of that nature, you know? Mm-hmm. And then he ends up conducting
one of the biggest interviews ever up to that point.
And Nixon is an animal.
Yeah.
He is a psychological mastermind who was just going to destroy this guy. And then he turns him at the last minute, man. That was so cool. Yeah, I really like that.
You know who was an animal? LBJ.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a sex addict. Did you watch All the Way?
No.
With Bryan Cranston playing him?
No.
Oh, he does a good job. But there's the stories about Lady Bird walking in on him with his secretary and how like that changed Secret Service policy moving forward, so it would never happen again.
Somebody would stand in front of the door so she
Something
can come
like
in.
That. Like he would
cowboy hat on the doorknob.
Conduct interviews while he was like getting dressed, and he'd like talk about, look at the size of that thing. You ever seen something that big in your life? Or he'd sit on the toilet.
Man,
and do like interviews with the press while he's sitting on the toilet.
I cannot imagine being that person in and having that much responsibility and that much power and not being some crazy fanatic sex addict. I don't know how you would not be in that.
Yeah.
Dude, that has got to be the biggest psychological mindfuck ever.
I'm the fucking man.
You are, by everyone's account, the most powerful person in the world.
Yeah, you're the man.
You do whatever you want.
Yeah. Nobody can tell you no.
And if you're Trump, like, you just do a ton of insane shit for 4 years and then pardon everyone.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah. You can't stop me.
No. Yeah. They can't.
Dude, he's going to start his own news thing after this and make himself billions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Like, enough to fund another casino that he can bankrupt. I mean, just so much money.
It doesn't matter, dude.
And it's not just him. He's going to run again in 2024. And he could put his daughter as his VP. Or his daughter could run.
That would be pretty wild.
And there's enough people that would vote for him.
What if she ran for president and he was VP?
And then if something happens to her, he has to take over.
I'm
back, bitches.
He purposely gets her whacked so he could take over.
That'd be messed up. I wouldn't put it past him.
He might, yeah.
He doesn't give a shit.
No.
He
really likes his daughter though.
Yeah, he does.
But I mean, he'd still get her whacked probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. She should watch out, man.
She should.
Yeah. Calling it now, 2024.
You're making me nervous. I feel like they're going to kick in the front door or something. They're coming for you.
All right, Hoover, you want to shut it down?
Yeah, man.
All right,
fun.
Cool. I'm glad you came down, dude.
I am too.
Yeah, awesome.
You got me to drink 2 beers.
2?
2 of them. Yeah, I drank a lager.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sessions, they're good.
White girl wasted.
They even take out an S and add the
Session.
Whatever the thing is.
You know, we have a friend whose dad slangs those things. I want him to be mayor of the Dallas.
I want him to be president.
His dad says no, or his son says no. Don't get him into that. Don't get him into that shit.
He's like a classic entrepreneur.
He really is.
You cannot tell him no. Like he does it.
Well, when I got beat up by a girl at their concert, the city told him that they wouldn't give them a permit to do a concert with the Cherry Festival, and he's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself. I'll do it all myself." And he did it.
Yeah. And it was probably better than it would have been.
And they were pissed. Yeah. And they were trying to get him into the fold towards the end, and he's like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna do my own thing."
Yeah.
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 Yeah. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna try to get him down here. That would be a good one. All right, Hoover.
Alrighty, man.
All right.